Hey budget gardeners, Vita Loca here. It is a beautiful fall day here in New Hampshire. Join me today as we do some flower bed cleanup. So let's go. For today's project, I figured we would tackle this small little garden space. If you'll recall, a few years ago, I used to have 3 arborvitae that were planted here. They looked great when we bought this house 20 years ago. They were very small, but over the years they grew very big and they just started to die off. They did not look good at all. So a year ago, my husband and I cut them down and we pulled them out of here. This spring, we worked on this bed together. There are some ajuga that are in the center of the bed. There are also some rhododendrons that we temporarily planted in the center of this bed. And then we planted a whole bunch of annuals on the perimeter of this bed, annuals that I started from seed indoors. Some of those annuals include pink vinka, there's Coleus, there is a blue Lobelia, and there is also Alyssum. We also put a few blue pansies in here. And this bed was beautiful throughout the summer. But now it is looking very tired and it's time for us to clean this bed up. So I figured let's do this together and I'll show you step by step how I'm tackling this bed. I was very diligent about cutting this alyssum back a number of times during the season, but it is looking really bad. It's time for it to go. I am hopeful that it dropped plenty of seeds in this flower bed, but I have made videos recently showing you how to collect the seeds from alyssum, as well as the trailing lobelia, and also how to collect the seeds off of coleus. So if you haven't checked those videos out, please do. I used to just pull out all of my annuals from the roots here, but it's actually better for the soil and all the microorganisms that are living inside of the soil if you can try to just cut back your annuals at the base and leave the roots in the ground. The roots will break down in the fall, in the winter, in the spring, and then if you do pull up the roots at that time in the springtime, you'll notice that the roots are actually quite decomposed. And that's because all the microorganisms are eating away at the roots, and it's just overall good for the soil biology and the soil life. So I'm just finding where the base of the plant is. I'm going to go ahead and just snip it. There. And that's one plant removed. And again, we've left the roots here. So we're going to leave that there until the springtime. And during the spring, if I want to remove it at that time, it's fine. But I'd prefer for the roots to decompose for over the next many months. Again, here's some of the alyssum. And just by shaking the plant around, you can see the light brown colored seeds that are on the palm of my hand. Each of those seeds, if I was to save them, would produce another alyssum plant. I've already saved a bunch of seeds from my alyssum, but I just wanted to show you those. There are some leaves in here that have just fallen, and I'm going to go ahead and rake those up just to get them out of the bed. And these leaves are quite large. They're whole pieces of leaves. My plan for all of my flower beds is to take my leaves, put them through my leaf shredder, and then top dress all of my flower beds with leaf material that's been shredded, which will be really good to cover the soil and also to feed the worms and microorganisms in the soil. And now is a great time. If you find weeds in your flower bed, you definitely want to remove those. Part of my plan for cleaning up this flower bed today is to also collect the seeds off of my coleus plants. Some of the coleus in here are some really pretty coleus that I grew last year from seed, and those were seeds that I did buy. So I do want to collect the seeds from a few of the coleus in here that I bought. There are a number of coleus on the other side of the bed, that were grown from seeds that I collected the previous summer. But these ones specifically on this side of the bed are ones that I bought. So I definitely want to collect the seeds from these. When it comes to the trailing lobelia seed pods, what you're looking for is a seed pod that's more on the browner side like this. See those teeny tiny specks? Those are seeds. And each one will produce a lobelia plant, if you can believe it. I will definitely also be collecting some of the seeds off my lobelia plant today. When it comes to your coleus, you want to make sure that the blossoms are no longer purple. They should be brown. And those are what the seeds look like on your coleus plant. Okay, we're going to tackle this together. Let's get after this bed, shall we? Now that we've cleaned this whole area over here, there's one more section that needs to get cleaned up, and that's these plants here. Those are vinca. I wanted to wait to get to cutting those back because I wanted to make sure I could access them over from this area here. Now I can easily access them. Right along the stems of the vinca are where the seed pods are being formed. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how I collect the seed pods off of the vinca plant. They're right down here, and typically the ones near the bottom of the plant are riper than the ones near the top. It's a close-up shot at what the seed pod looks like. And if you go ahead and open up the seed pod, you'll see the little black seeds. Each one will produce a vinca plant. And there are a whole bunch right inside of this one seed pod. I've already collected plenty of the hot pink vinca, so I don't need any more, but I just wanted to show you. I'm going to follow the same process. I'm just going to be cutting the plant down at the base, but I'm going to leave the roots in the ground. Even though this plant still looks pretty good, we are due to have a frost any day now. And honestly, it's easier for me to start tackling one bed at a time right now. The temperature today and tomorrow is supposed to be in the 60s. It is so much nicer to do this job when it's warm out than when it's freezing out or when the plant is all like mush. Right now it's not mushy, and it's easy for me to just quickly cut these back. Fall time is definitely bittersweet. It's hard to let go of plants when they've looked so beautiful during the whole season. But at the same time, it's good for the bed to rest a little bit. And I'm really glad to be getting this job done. What I'm going to do is I'm going to finish up the other side of the bed. I'm going to do the exact same process that I've already shown you. And I'll show you what the bed looks like when I'm all done. There are so many things I love about living in New England. I love looking at the fall foliage. And even though cleaning the leaves can be kind of a pain, I do try to look at the positive, which is the leaves are a great organic matter for our gardens. So I do spend the time in the fall time to shred up my leaves and not only top dress all my flower beds, but I also put it in a big compost bin and I mix it up with all the yard waste that I collect from each of my beds. Now we just cleaned this small space here and look how much yard waste we got. This is awesome. I can take this and mix it with my shredded leaves and it will turn it into black gold. Now, it won't do it by itself automatically. It takes a little bit of effort. I do need to cut up some of the big pieces in here, just because they'll break down faster if I cut up some of the bigger stalks. And I need to add some water to my compost bin. And I do need to turn it every so often just to get it heating up and burning off any of the weed seeds. But it's so worth the effort. And I do love getting all of this green material to mix in with my brown material, which would be the leaves. Look how nice and clean this bed looks. Even though it's bare, it's a good thing. It's fall time, and it is time to put our beds to rest. And what it does is it allows me the opportunity to now add either compost or shredded leaves to this bed. And then it is going to rest for the winter time, and it'll be ready to go come springtime. I hope this video motivated you. It motivated me because one bed is completely done, and now I can move on to the next bed. I'm curious, are you cleaning up your flower beds? What are you doing this time of year in your garden? Please drop a message below and let me know what you're up to in your gardens. Until the next video, make it a great day with gardening.